Kenyan government reacting to any of these allegations?
Well, so far the story of Chinedu has drawn a lot of controversy, largely because, as you know, we also got Kenyans who have been detained in Lagos. About 12 Kenyans. This includes 5 crew members of the chartered plane that brought Chinedu and 5 Nigerians to Lagos, and about 7 immigration and security officials. So there's a lot of back and forth. In fact, you can call it a diplomatic row between Kenya and Nigeria at the moment. Though both governments have actually remained mum on the issue. Today we had Kenya's Foreign Affairs Minister Amina talking about the issue with the detained Kenyans, and she said they are behind the door dealings. They're trying to resolve the matter, and she doesn't call it detention. She doesn't call it they're being detained. They've just been refused to leave the hotel room where they are. And Chinedu is also on record saying that they will not be released until maybe the plane. He said that the chartered plane has to be sold because to recover his investments back in Kenya. So there is a lot of controversy going on with the Chinedu story, and it has brought to the fore so many other accusations regarding it has actually painted a spotlight on the foreigners in Kenya.
Yeah, one of those accusations is that those who supported former Prime Minister Raila Odinga in the last elections are being victimized. They're being hunted.
And I think at the moment that's just being treated as allegations. In fact, the local media are not picking up on that because so far I think the story has come from one side from Anthony Chinedu, who has said that they were victimized because they supported Raila Odinga, but no one has verified those allegations. In fact, even the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga himself has not spoken about the issue. So we are currently those allegations are just being treated as that, allegations and speculation.
Well, contrary to what Nigerians think, that the detention of the aircraft carrying Mr. Chinedu and 14 others at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport is in retaliation to the deportations. I had a chat off camera with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Lugbenga Ashiru. He says this has nothing to do with it, but that some of the passengers on board the aircraft with registration number F5YSAX did not have valid documents, which is why they're being detained. I know what you're asking here. Who pays for the period of time they're being held up? Well, that answer is simple. The minister says it is not the Nigerian government, as we are the ones aggrieved. Plus, he says he's in talks with his Kenyan counterparts on the deportations. Now, concerning reports that Nigerians are being witch-hunted in Kenya, the minister says that's also part of the talks. If Nigerians are found to be doing legitimate business in Kenya and they have valid documentation, then they should be allowed to stay. He's also not sure that Mr. Anthony Chinedu's case followed due process. He says he has to go through the process in court in order to be convicted a drug dealer, same with other Nigerians. A bottom line in all of this is the minister saying that he's trying to avoid any tit-for-tat diplomacy in this scenario, choosing instead to investigate all sides of the matter. We'll be right back.
Fun, inspiration and knowledge. That's what you get from readers, writers, publishers, and the entire book world. Get some interesting reviews, events, interviews, and latest updates from the book world. The channel's book club, inspiring you one page at a time.
Welcome back. Israel's new ambassador to Nigeria only presented his letter of credence to President Goodluck Jonathan on Tuesday last week and then came down to Lagos. Ambassador Uriel Pauti hopes to strengthen further already existing relations between his country and Nigeria. In agriculture, health, education, you name it. He believes Nigeria will grow as powerful as to become a continent and hopes to work many bilateral meetings while he's in the country. In his first interview since taking up the position, he takes on issues surrounding this special relationship. Yeah, I understand it is your first visit to Nigeria. You've been here only 3 months.
Exactly.
It
seems like over a year. I'm enjoying it tremendously.
I can only imagine. But Israel has always had a unique relationship with Nigeria. I understand right from our own independence up until now. Since you've been ambassador, what do you make of the relations so far between your country and ours?
You know, Israel and Nigeria have a very, very good relations. There is a deep common interest, common values, common love, I might say. Yesterday I had the honor and privilege to present my credentials to His Majesty Dr. Jonathan Goodluck. And we have discussed, even so it was short, but we have discussed those great relationship between Israel and Nigeria. And it goes really down to this, as I said, common issues of agricultural, education, emotion. For example, unfortunately, both countries fight international terrorism. We fight the nuclear Iran. You fight Boko Haram. But it's not only those issues. As I said, development of the country, human development, social security, all those great issues shows you how deep is the connection between Israel and Nigeria.
And I understand you're also going to energy too. Is that right?
Going to energy, going to irrigation, going to development of water, going to electricity, you name it, Amarachi.
Exactly what area, I mean, how exactly are you involved in energy in Nigeria?
Well, energy is only one of the issues. There are companies, there are Israeli companies who are coming to Nigeria and doing business on the issue of energy, of high energy. There are startups, there are many companies who are dealing with it because energy is one of the most important issues to both countries.
Yeah, I understand that. With the whole business relations, it's really quite solid. But you do understand that China does seem to be making great inroads in Africa. A lot of countries are opening up their borders to Chinese companies also. And even though we have quite a number of Israeli companies here in Nigeria, we do have the Chinese also. And there's competition on the continent. How are you dealing with that?
I tell you, from what I've learned, and as you said, I'm only here 3 months, Nigeria is a giant. I can tell you, I can reveal to you that there was a internal correspondence within the Israeli Foreign Ministry in the last few days, how giant is Nigeria, and Nigeria is going to be, someone mentioned it, Nigeria is going to be a continent in 2050, that we need to develop our embassy and maybe even to open some consulates in Nigeria. Someone mentioned the number of 450 million people in the year 2050. So I think there's room for not only Israel and China, there's room for some other countries. I'm not afraid of competition. We have a term in Hebrew, let 100 flowers flourish.
It's great that you should say that. And the partnership also extends, of course, to insecurity, which Israel has had its fair share of terrorism with your neighbors, Iran, which you feel threatened by, and so on. But, you know, you're also offering Nigeria some help in that area. Exactly how are you trying to help Nigeria deal with insecurity?
Nigeria knows to handle those issues by herself. I'm sure Nigeria, and I count on Nigeria, that Nigeria will handle those issues by herself. But let me tell you another issue, which I discussed with the president yesterday, and he mentioned it in the statement that the State House issued yesterday. We are delighted to host the president in the next fall. The president will make a pilgrimage visit in the fall to Israel. We will host him. We will be delighted to host the president. He will meet with President Peres, that yesterday celebrated his 90th birthday, and President Jonathan Goodluck has asked me to deliver his greetings to President Peres, which immediately, of course, I delivered to Israel. And he will meet with President Peres. He will meet with Prime Minister Netanyahu, and all those issues where are mutual to both countries will be discussed in his visit to Israel.
But in the meantime, you are offering some form of assistance to Nigeria.
I'm telling you, Nigeria is such a giant that can deal with all those issues.